Welcome to the Fireside Chat series with MasterB2B. My name is Brian Beck. I'm the co-founder of MasterB2B. In our Fireside Chat series, we talk about key issues for manufacturers and distributors with an industry practitioner and industry expert. Today's session is brought to you in partnership with VTEX, a leading digital commerce platform. We're going to be talking about glass breaking, creating a world-class B2B digital experience at a traditional distributor. Let's dive in.
When you think about some of the stuff you're doing, and especially in B2B, where I think you've got traditional salespeople, right, that may view digital as a threat, when you think about change management, in terms of how much time you spend on it compared to the technology side of it, or what you think the customer experience is going to be, what would you say is the right percentage, or in your experience, that you devote to something like this? Because we know it's great if you build something, but nobody uses it, or nobody thought it met the expectation. It goes nowhere. So curious from your perspective on that part.
I will not give you a percentage because it has to be 100%, and that sounds impossible if you're a digital and technology leader. But I say that because we live and breathe what we do, not just in the digital and the technology world. So by the way, I don't call meetings that we have. It's whether it's a brainstorming session, a problem-solving session, a war room. What happens is, part of our day has to be spent in building technology solutions. Part of the same day has to be spent in working with, whether it is the CFO and his team, or working with the VP of supply chain and his team, whether it is the branch managers and their teams, correct? So instead of giving the percentage, I wouldn't say it's a 30% or 50%. It's a daily job for the digital team to be collaborating on a regular fashion, frequent fashion, right? Now you can ask the question how is that possible? Because they're all going to be busy doing their job. But it is possible because if you have 2,000 plus employees, you don't need to go to the same person every single time. You can go to different branch managers to understand their pain points, and then make sure when you solve the problem, you can go back and understand if you were able to solve it. So engaging with them on a daily, frequent basis is very important. And when it comes to transformation, just so that you know, and Brian, it's a great question, transformation journey happens when everybody understands why something is urgent. It's almost like going to an ER or an urgent care is not different. It's completely different than if you went to a doctor. You don't go, it's kind of like you have an urgent crisis situation, you go to an ER, correct? Does the organization together understand we have an ER situation, then everyone will act on it. So as digital and technology leaders, we shouldn't be acting like firefighters for every topic, but it's understanding what topic. If you are losing business, we get a sense of urgency, people are going to listen, right? It's understanding when do we approach them, how frequently, and with what intensity and passion is so important. Then what happens is people are going to listen to us, right? People are going to act on it together as a team. But if you're just going to go on something that is not going to move the needle, or not going to get your margins up, or it's not going to help you with your inventory where you are, nobody's going to listen, nobody's going to care. That's the last thing they're going to worry about.
Yeah, it's interesting, Rob. Maybe you're just talking about, I was going to ask you, how do you kind of measure success or create the urgency and then know you're making progress against some of those goals that you've set? Could you speak to that a little bit? What kind of metrics do you use?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Before we define any metrics, I always like to state where we are today. Correct? If you think about how many customers we have, how much are they doing, what are they doing month by month kind of standpoint, is understanding where are we today, right? If it's a branch, is it a $6 million branch, a $10 million branch? What does their margin look like? What kind of an inventory do they have, right? Are they making money? Are they not able to make money? Why are they not making money? Is it because they have too much spending with respect to cost and expenses that is operational in its nature? Is it because they are spending more time with how they are moving items and transferring stock between a DC and a branch? Does it mean they are having the right stock in their location to meet the demands of their customer who is going to their counter? So it's defining today is more important before we get to the future. Now, how do we define the KPIs is, again, what is important is who are we defining the KPIs for? Am I thinking about the customer? Am I thinking about revenue? Am I thinking about margin? So it's defining all aspects of it, then deciding, for example, I think in today's world, especially with the digital native players, you think about the Amazons of the world, it's easier for us to understand that if somebody is doing business with us online from an e-commerce or digital standpoint, it's less customer service and time that you need to spend with them. compared to if you have to manage them every single time at a counter, at a branch, offline. So math will tell you, using AI model and everything, you may be able to do X percentage, for example, a 10% increase in customer share of wallet by transacting online or digital. So it's kind of defining the KPIs and metrics by showing and comparing how did they do prior to engaging with the digital channels, how are they doing after the fact they engage with the digital channels, and then showing progress compared to where they were day 1, day 30, 60, 90. So it's important that we have the data for day 1. If you don't have the data for day 1, you can't measure anything. So
You have to compare against, right? No, I think that's great, and I think it's so interesting to talk to you too, because you're talking about technology investments almost following really the goals, right? Following the assessment, following where understanding where you are, understanding some of those metrics. So, but I mean, but technology is important, right? You ended up you're on the VTEX platform now, and as in Europe, you have a long accomplished career, Rama. You've done this before. You've digitally advanced companies significantly. I mean, and as a glass breaker, right? Someone who's just making change and bringing these new concepts and new business models into traditional companies. I mean, how did you end up on VTEX? Is it the choice of the glass breaker?
yes, 100%. There's no doubt about it. So when it comes to VTEX, I will answer it in 2 parts. It's super easy for me to answer this question. One is, for me, if you think about it, the emphasis is always about the mindset. Everybody has to have a transformation mindset. They have to think outside the box, be creative, innovative. Then comes everything else, correct? VTEX, if you think about Michael here, you think about Mariano, you think about Santi, the whole leadership team, I can go on, right? Geraldo, they're all visionaries. They want to make an impact in what they are building. They're not building for today. They're building for for tomorrow, the future. Number one. For me, if I want to have a vision, I want to make sure the product or the technology I'm going to buy is as visionary or more visionary than I can be. That's number one. So when I can look at leaders who are being visionaries and building for the future, that's the number one important thing. The other part is pace is everything. I don't want to be left behind. I don't like to play catch up, right? So it's a very fast moving, even though we are a traditional distributor, customers are not going to wait. If you have a customer who is showing up at your counter and they are the 12th person in that line and they want some material and you're going to close and it's 5 p.m. or something, you want to take care of the customer. So pace is everything, right? Because then they're going to go to competition. So when I look at VTEX, the questions are very simple. Are they going to help me move fast? Are they going to provide me quality? Are they going to provide me where they're not going to break the bank? Right? They can be a glass breaker. I don't want it to be the most expensive solution, correct? Because I'm answerable to my the CFO here, right? So the other thing is, are they going to partner with me, right? And true partnership is what is more important than, yes, technology is important. I'll come to the technology part in a little bit, but true partnership is when Michael can empathize with where I want to be, not today, 5 years from now, 7 years from now, and they are open to providing capabilities that are kind of like end-to-end. It's not just an e-commerce site. So Michael was talking about B2B, order management system, marketplace, and you take VTEX, they have the IO platform as well, the mark-based architecture, microservices, composable architecture, API-based, cloud-native, headless commerce, separate the front end and the back end. What happens is that makes my job easier. Then it provides the modularity that provides me the hybrid way to approach the business. I can have business teams or business analysts work with my team to build stuff for future on a VTEX platform. And how VTEX integrates with whether it is a PIM or a CRM, it makes the whole job easier. So that is the technology aspect of that as well. So I think it's more moving fast, quality, cost, being a true partner, and being part of the same journey, right? It's not VTEX, and Michael knows this. When we are working with the VTEX team, the digital team and the VTEX team is one team. It's not two different teams, right? So that makes it where we are collaborating as the same team towards the same end goal and vision.
Yeah. No, I was going to say too, and I think I appreciate the comments from Rama, but I think one of the things that he does very well with us is shows us his vision and where he wants to go in the roadmap, not just like immediately for the first project, but where he's trying to get to 3 and 4 years down the road. And I think that's one of the things that's very helpful for us because we like customers that think the same way we do. And to his point earlier, I think we also have to listen and take our product where our customers want to go, in addition to the innovation and the thing that we do. But Rama's been very transparent with us in that space. And I think the follow on I kind of had for Rama was just we say pragmatic composable platform, meaning that we do have a full stack, but we're also capable of plugging in different components. And maybe, Rama, you can talk a little bit about just some of the areas where you feel like that came into play in your decision, and and why VTEX was a fit in that area.
Yes, 100%, right? So I think for me, when I look at VTEX, it's not an e-commerce solution. It's a true digital end-to-end platform, correct? On top of it, the fact that VTEX allows me to kind of like plug and play. So if I'm not going to like, let's say, a checkout aspect of it or on a user experience standpoint, the fact that I can completely differentiate between the back end and the front end, it helps me. The other part is VTEX, if you think about that pick and pack solution, it's kind of like easy to configure, correct? And easy to configure, I can kind of create value faster through the VTEX platform. So I don't have to end up getting like a full-fledged WMS solution if it solves for my needs for today. At the same time, if I have to be open to changing to a different solution, if I need to, VTEX provides that option to kind of, with their composable architecture, to kind of plug and play and move things faster. So I think the platform and the architecture is such that you don't have to worry about today, the decisions you're making. It is important, but at the same time, it is so flexible. It's like Michael said, it's pragmatic. It provides the modularity. It provides integration. So VTEX IO platform allows integration. So not a lot of digital commerce platform allows. They have an integration layer through APIs that makes it easier to connect between different systems and applications. So even if you're having an old-fashioned traditional ERP system, VTEX allows us to kind of like, whether it is caching, synchronization, make things faster from a performance standpoint with their integration layer. So I think it's the mock architecture that VTEX has that comes to our kind of a rescue from a performance, stability, modularity standpoint.
I have a follow-on question there, Rama. One of the common sort of concerns companies might have about a composable approach is that it requires a significant team. In order, you talked a lot about flexibility. You also talked about moving quickly.
Yes.
And one of the common concerns companies have that Andy and I hear often in our MasterB2B series is, hey, do I need an entire team of developers to do a lot of the things to really bring the value to life of the composability, of the flexibility it offers, in a VTEX platform and the mock architecture. Any thoughts on that? Is that just a fear that's overblown?
No. It's not a fear that is overblown at all. So how did I won't talk about the competitors that I considered before I picked VTEX. But there are the ones that I considered were all part of mock-based architecture alliance, which is important to me, being cloud native, headless commerce, API driven and everything. But the key thing to keep in mind is, to your point, there could be platforms that are so API driven that when we went through this whole journey in evaluation, if the platform provider is always talking about, when we are asking a problem and the solution is, well, we have an API for it, that's the wrong platform. That doesn't mean, even if they are part of a mock-based architecture solution, if their answer to a customer's experience or feature, functionality for B2B, especially, I'm not talking B2C, right? If they don't have a set of functionalities we can use out of the box from a B2B standpoint, right? Think of like an online quotation feature or something like that. What happens is then I'm going to have, to your point, a large development team to build using APIs and do all of those customization at my end. What VTEX provides is, yes, they have an integration platform. They are part of the mock-based architecture. They have the APIs and everything. But what VTEX provides is a set of functionalities and features for B2B out of the box, upon which you can build for the future if you need to enhance and customize. So it's not like I need to start from scratch. That's when you need a crazy big development team with everyone who are API experts and everything, that it can get expensive, and your total cost of ownership with those platforms is going to be significantly higher. VTEX solves that problem for me by providing what I need for today, then I can build upon it for the future.
Interesting. So the head is not dead.
Yes.
It's only partially dead,
yes.
right? Headless commerce,
yes.
right? That's interesting. So it's kind of a best of both worlds. That's awesome.
Yep.
Okay. And so, we talked a lot about what you're doing. How do you determine and prioritize what's next?
That's a great question. For me, there is one problem I have with agile product management as to how we have all interpreted it. I think full credit to agile and product management methodology, and everyone talks about voice of the customer and everything. But I think we took it to a very strong level that we're always waiting for the customer to tell us what we need to be doing. So what has happened is you have a lot of the product teams, whether it is the distributor product teams or product teams that we are working with technology partners, where we go have a chat with the customer and we are hoping that the customer will tell us exactly what we need to build for them. I think wrong approach, right? I'm not a big fan of that approach. So yes, we need to have a voice of a customer. Yes, we need to have iterative ways to build products and features. I think the next generation of products, when we are looking at what we need to build next or what we need to provide next, has to come from us, understanding and empathizing with the customer, where it's not for the customer to tell us what we need to build. Whether you take all the great products, nobody asks for whether it is an Apple or Amazon or, you can go on. Nobody asked for it, right? But they came up with a product understanding the customer behavior it's our job to be 10 steps ahead of the customer and not ask them what we need to be doing for them. It's understanding what are they trying to do, but based on it, provide a service based on three things, right? Whether you're finding there is a gap in the marketplace that we can do better than other competition, or observing trends, whether it is using AI or sustainability. There are different trends that is happening, understanding what are the trends that are going on around AI, automation and stuff. Then the other part is how do we understand what is the problem that we need to be solving for them. And again, sometimes we underestimate change and transformation. I 100% agree that change and transformation is painful. It is not an easy job. But sometimes we tend to underestimate the fact that human beings, if you think about it, we've gone through evolution. We keep changing. We are not the same we were a decade back, all of us included. Nowadays, you have all these apps, whether it is an Uber Eats or how do you want to request you're not requesting for a taxi anymore like you used to. You have an Uber for it. You're requesting for food in a different way. You know where your personal shopper is trying to get groceries for you, and you know exactly when they're going to come to your neighborhood, open the gate, and it's at your front door. That's the world we live in, correct? Is it all a change for us? 100%. Is it all convenience for us? 100%. Are people paying for it? 100%. So we underestimate the fact that human beings can actually take change more than we think, and the fact that we have messaging apps and everything. Now, I'm not saying I'm for it or against it. Human beings will evolve. We got to trust. But how do we walk them through the journey of change and transformation? It's on us, not the customer.
Gotcha. Michael, we're coming up on time here. You have any final questions for
maybe just one final question, kind of thinking about the prioritization of things. And I think of B2B a lot about efficiency, right? You have people that know they need something, they want to get it, quickly at the end of the day. And distribution, obviously, too, is price competitive, right? You're selling other people's products as well. So I'm just curious, in the levers you look at when you're thinking about what we're going to do for our end customer, are there times where you say, you know what, this will make their job easier, but it also doesn't have to be that we're the cheapest solution or the cheapest price in the marketplace. They'll come to us because we have a better solution that makes their job easier at the end of the day. Could you just speak to that maybe briefly in terms of when you're prioritizing, capabilities?
100%. If you think about our customers, whether it is I'm just naming it, right? Like ABC Electric, someone who's at a job site trying to take care of a Walgreens pharmacy construction kind of, for example, right? And they're an electrical contractor working there. They want their material when they need it. So they can take care of their job, correct? At that point, they're not looking at, am I going to save like $3 on this? That's not their question. It's like getting their job done is more important than what they are going to save. Now, yes, as a package, they are going to look at their accounts and balance and everything, but everyone will pay if you provide the best customer service, because everyone loves productivity. Everybody loves to be efficient. Everybody loves to be faster. Everybody wants to spend more time with their family or home and elsewhere. So how do we get them to spend less time on their job site and more time elsewhere, which is a lot less stressful for them? That's when we win. So, and customers will pay for it. We don't need to be the cheapest. I don't look at it as we got to be cheap or we got to provide a cheap solution. Like I said, when I pick VTEX is not cheap, but you provide quality as well. So you got to take all aspect of the solution that you're looking at, not just the cost aspect of it. So every customer is thinking the same way.
I love it. You're adding value and people paying for it. Rama, thank you very much for your time. Chief Digital Officer at USESI. Michael, it's been a great co-hosting session with you. Co-hosting this session with you. Master B2B Fireside Chat. This will be available on Spotify, on different podcast formats, and also on our website. Thank you all for listening in today. We appreciate your time, Rama, and great insights. Thank you, Michael, for co-hosting. We'll talk to you again sometime soon.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.
It was great.